Recording by Ed Damerow. Edmund Dulac's Fairy Tale Book by Edmund Dulac. Chapter 3. White Caroline and Black Caroline. A Flemish Fairy Tale. Come, come, Caroline, white, white child o' mine. I hate you, and at any rate, you are no child o' mine. Come, come, Caroline, black, black child o' mine. I bore you, adore you, will give whatever more you want, O child o' mine. Once upon a time there was a mother who had 2 daughters, both named Caroline. People called one White Caroline because she was so beautiful. But her mother could not see it because the child was not really her own. The other was called Black Caroline by the people because she was so ugly. Black Caroline was the favorite of her mother and received everything she could desire. Now one day it so happened that an old shepherd was passing by, and with him he had 3 little lambs. And he smiled on seeing White Caroline, and he caressed her head, and the little lambs came close and rubbed themselves against her little white dress. White Caroline was exceedingly pleased with all this. Now Black Caroline, standing on the winding stairs, also wanted to see, and coming to the door she half opened it. But as soon as the old shepherd saw her face, he turned and started on his way, and the 3 little lambs bleated and beat their heads together, because Black Caroline was so ugly, but she was good all the same. And their mother, in her heart, could not stand this, so she said, "White Caroline must die, cost what it will." And so she thought and thought during 7 days how she could get rid of White Caroline. Then one day she went behind a hedge and said, "Hedge, thorn hedge, give me 12 deadly thorns, each an inch long." And the hedge gave her 12 deadly thorns, each thorn an inch long. Then their mother returned home and showed them to Black Caroline. "Pay attention, Black Caroline," she said. "This evening, when you go to bed, you must sleep at the edge, and the inside place must be for White Caroline. Because I am going to conceal all the little thorns in her pillow, and she will die when she puts her head upon her pillow, and then you alone shall be more than ever the pet child of your mother." And Black Caroline said, "Very well." But that evening, when White Caroline was about to get into bed, Black Caroline took her by the arm and said, "White Caroline, I love you very much, and you must not tell Mother, but she is trying to kill you. There are 12 deadly thorns in your pillow. Go to sleep all the same, but we'll put our heads at the foot of the bed." And White Caroline, full of joy, took Black Caroline in her little arms, and they slept together. The following morning they heard a rat-a-tat on the stairs. "Here, Black Caroline, are you there?" It was their mother calling from the bottom of the stairs. "Yes, my dear little mother, I am here," said White Caroline. Their mother was in a terrible rage because White Caroline was not dead. She at once mounted the stairs to see if Black Caroline was alive. But even then she could not understand how it was that White Caroline was not dead, and once again rage overcame her. Now it happened that one day a musician was passing by their house, and he had with him 3 little dogs. And when he saw White Caroline, he started to play on his organ the most beautiful airs that it was possible to hear. And the 3 little dogs commenced to dance together. White Caroline was exceedingly pleased, but Black Caroline, who was on the winding stairs, came down and half opened the door because she wanted to see also. But as soon as the musician saw the face of Black Caroline, he ceased to play, and the 3 little dogs hid their heads under a sack because Black Caroline was so ugly, but she was also very good. And their mother, in her heart, could not stand that, so she said, "White Caroline must die, cost what it will." She thought and thought during 7 days how she could rid herself of White Caroline. At last she went to an old witch, and bought the most violent poison that could be got. On arriving home, she called Black Caroline and said, "Pay attention, Black Caroline. When at dinner today, do not eat of the little meatballs. Say you have a pain in your head, because I am going to put this poison in the meat, and then White Caroline will eat it, and she will die. And then you will be more than ever the pet of your mother." And Black Caroline said, "Very well." But at dinner time, when White Caroline was about to eat from her plate, she took her by the arm and said, "White Caroline, I love you very much, but you must not tell Mother she wishes your death, and she has put poison in your meat. Tell her that we will eat our dinner outside the house, so that the cat may not eat the birds, and so that the crows may not eat the grain. Then you can throw your portion away." Then White Caroline, full of joy, took Black Caroline in her little arms, and they went out together. A little while after, they heard a rat-a-tat at the garden door. "Here, Black Caroline, are you there?" It was their mother calling from inside the house. "Yes, my dear little mother, I am here," said White Caroline. And their mother was in a great rage because White Caroline was not dead. Then she went out to see if Black Caroline was still alive, and she had still her plate full of meat, and she was shedding tears of blood because she had such a bad headache. And their mother could not understand how it was that White Caroline was not dead, and she boiled with rage. And one day it happened that a tradesman was passing the house with sweets and cakes in his van. And when he saw White Caroline, he showed her all the sweets and cakes and nuts. White Caroline was so happy because the tradesman gave her nuts and sweets for nothing, just because she was so pretty. But Black Caroline, who was coming down the winding stairs, came out to see. As soon as the man saw Black Caroline, he mounted his van and drove away at full gallop, because she was so ugly. But she was good all the same. And her mother could not stand that, so she said, "White Caroline must die, cost what it will." Then she went to an old miller, and asked him if he could place the mill against 4 little sticks, so that whoever touched the mill, it would fall on them and crush them. And the old miller said, "Yes, it can be done very well, and the mill will be placed thus in 14 days. I will see to it at once." Their mother was very pleased, and she showed Black Caroline how the mill would be placed, and said to her, "Pay attention, Black Caroline. When you go with a sack of flour to the mill, you must let it drag and be overcome, before you arrive near the little sticks that support the mill. White Caroline must take it all alone. As soon as she touches the little sticks, she will be crushed by the mill, and then you will be more than ever the pet of your mother." And Black Caroline said, "Very well." But the next day, when White Caroline walked near the little sticks, Black Caroline stopped her and said, "White Caroline, I love you very much, and you must not tell Mother. But she intends that you shall die, and she has caused these little sticks to be placed like that, so that the mill will fall on you and crush you. Throw the stack on the sticks, so." And White Caroline, full of joy, took Black Caroline in her little arms, and so they went back. And it was well they did, for there were 5 little rats in that sack of flour, and all those 5 were killed when the mill fell down. Then they heard a rat-a-tat and the voice of their mother calling, "Here, Black Caroline, are you there?" "Yes, little mother, I am here," answered White Caroline. And the mother was very cross to find that White Caroline was not dead, and she ran quickly to the mill to see if Black Caroline was alive. And when she came back and found her, she was crying tears of blood because she ached in every limb, and could not walk. And her mother could not understand how it was that White Caroline was not dead, and she boiled with rage. She took Black Caroline home and put her in her little bed. Then she set out to find White Caroline with intent to kill her. But White Caroline had gone far away where her mother could not get at her. On her journey, she came to a great stretch of water, and she could not cross over. But suddenly she saw many arms, as black as pitch, held out over the water so that they formed a bridge. White Caroline did not know whether to pass over this bridge or to go back. She began to cry bitterly. Then, plucking up courage, she made the sign of the cross and ran upon them. When she came to the middle, the arms gave way, and White Caroline would have been drowned had she not been held up by the heels of her little wooden shoes. And the water nymphs and vampires were all around her. Then, suddenly, a beautiful woman, all in white, came running to her aid. And though the claws of the evil things were now pulling her down by the heels of her little shoes, the white woman was in time to save her just as she was on the point of being drowned. Then the white woman turned to the water nymphs and vampires. "Be still, all of you. Down to your dens and say, 'I sent ye.'" Then she led White Caroline to the other side of the water, and there she looked at her and kissed her and loved her as her own because she was so beautiful. This white woman was the queen of all the water and the woods, and was able in her domain to grant anything that anyone desired. In her great love for White Caroline, she told her that she could have whatever she wished. "Would you like to eat some beautiful grapes, White Caroline?" said she. Then, with her wand, she tapped the vine, and behold, immediately there hung beautiful grapes upon it. "Would you like a beautiful dress of silk, White Caroline?" And she tapped again with her little wand, and immediately, from a chrysalis hanging from the vine, a lovely dress of sky-blue silk was unfolded before her, all ready to put on. And the nymphs and the vampires were more than ever afraid to come near White Caroline, and she was very glad of that indeed. "Would you like a voyage?" said the white woman. And immediately, with a wave of her hand, she pointed it at a little nautilus sailing on the water, and there, in another moment, stood a beautiful bark with all sails set. And so White Caroline had everything she could desire, and was very happy. But one day a king came by, and the sound of his trumpet rang over the length of the water and through the woods. Quick, so quick, the white woman ran to White Caroline and said to her, "White Caroline, the time has come, and we must part, and you will never see me again. But before I go, you can wish for 2 things, and whatever you wish, it will be granted you." With that, the white woman vanished. Then White Caroline wished to have Black Caroline with her, and immediately there was a rustling among the trees, and Black Caroline stood beside her. The 2 Carolines were now reunited, but White Caroline was sad because Black Caroline was not as pretty as she herself. And remembering the white woman's promise, she resolved to wish that they might be both exactly the same. Then she wished that both of them should be changed into something exactly alike. Immediately they began to change. Little white feathers appeared on their shoulders and spread until they were evenly covered, and there they stood together, 2 beautiful white swans, and ever after they swam up and down on the peaceful water, and no one could tell one from the other. And never again did the nymphs and the vampires come near to harm them. End of chapter 3.